What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Ring Rant. I'm Mikhail Deadshot Bowie, joined by Jay Smoothe from the Rush Hour Fight Club. If you're new here, hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget to tune in to the live watch along with Jay at Rush Hour Fight Club on Fight Night. He will be calling the action, scoring every round, and chopping it up with you in real time. You don't want to miss it. He will be live and unfiltered with real-time reactions during the Ring 3 event. All right, let's dive into these matchups. Real quick, I'll run through the main fights on the card. We've got Berlanga versus Shiraz as the main event. Our co-main is Stevenson versus Cepeda. Our feature fight is Puello versus Matias, and then we got a few sleeper fights that might just steal the show. It's a stack card for sure. Let's dive right into it. Berlanga versus Shiraz.
Man, I gotta be honest with you. It's crazy because this should be one of these like fights where Balanga should really show everything that he has and show that he's still, somebody that can be a name within the division at 68. But at the same time, with Shiraz moving up, with him coming off the controversial draw to Adames, and him once again going on the road to face a guy that wants to knock him out. That, let's be honest, he's probably gonna have to because you never know how judge is gonna be, especially in New York. You know what I mean? So it just feels like this is more of a performance and a setup for Shiraz to have, I'd say, probably one of the better in ring performances he's had in his career. Because if there's one thing he's known for, is going into people's backyards and knocking them out. That's what he's done in the UK. Now he's coming to the USA. A bit different though, New York a lot different than the UK,
Yeah.
but at the same time, he's going in there with a guy that will want to take his head off. And he's fought a lot of guys like that in the UK. A lot of guys like to fight in the phone booth, and we know that Berlanga's going to bring it. But Berlanga's more of a brawler because that head is always on the center line. I feel like a guy like Shiraz, who likes to use his range and his reach to get his work done if possible. He'll hunt you if he feels like he has you hurt. But usually Shiraz is a guy that's going to ease his way in a fight. Try to do his work masterfully, if you will. Whereas Berlanga is gonna bring it to him like right at the onslaught. And if he can survive Berlanga, which I believe he can, because a lot of the brawlers that he's had in the UK, even guys like Tyler Denny, for example, not Tyler Denny, I'm sorry. There's a name that I'm thinking of in the UK. There's a guy that likes to brawl a lot, has a reputation for the 68. Name escapes me, but I
Uh,
think back to some of the fights this year there with a lot of guys in the phone booth.
it was a couple
He's
of
been
fights
able to
before
handle them well.
Adamas. I'm trying to
Yeah,
think of
yeah,
the
yeah. It was
name.
like a couple. Yeah, it was like a couple fights before Thomas, but like a lot of those guys, they like to run at people, but because it's crazy with UK fighters, not a lot of them have high KO ratios, but they love to brawl. They like to stand in that phone booth. And a guy like Berlanga that's going to be in his face, I feel like that's not going to shake Shiraz. And as a result, I think Shiraz will be able to put on some masterful work because I do believe he's the better boxer as well as the harder puncher. What do you think, though, bro?
Uh, I gotta go the opposite. I'm going with Berlanga. Um, I
Okay.
think I just didn't see Shiraz as comfortable when he got hit by Adamas. I think that's what changed that fight. Now you're
That's
gonna
true.
go up against a guy.
You're right. In a way, he did. Like some people say, Hamza did lose that fight. So in a way, I can see that.
Yeah, and I just it's uh punch resistance, you know, I don't know if he's got the weakest chin ever. I don't feel like he's super chinny. I can't say that, but I can say that the punches changed the way he fought. So his
That,
punch comfortability, I wouldn't say necessarily put it on his punch resistance, but his punch comfortability, how comfortable was he standing in the pocket and trading punches? Not very comfortable. He got on his bike. He didn't really exchange. He shelled up a lot on the ropes. You do that against a guy that's, for all intents and purposes, a light heavyweight that fights at 168. I just
right.
don't know if he's going to be able to survive that onslaught. So I'm going to give it to Berlanga and his power. Also, when I look at the two win, I mean the two. Well, he didn't lose to Adamas, but as fight fans, we kind of as a loss. So when I look at their two performances,
Yeah, I actually scored it for Adames myself.
yeah,
So
I scored it for Adamas too.
I can. Yeah.
So when I look at their two performances, uh, Berlanga goes up against Canelo and he
Right.
survives. Now, granted,
Mm,
I think that he learned in that fight because I think honestly one of his biggest mistakes was he started fighting too late. He
That's true.
earned Canelo's respect way, way too late. So I think he knows now. If I would have just went in there and let him kind of hang earlier in the fight, I probably wouldn't have got dropped, and I probably would have done a lot better because what he saw was I'm a big guy and Canelo had to tread lightly, and Canelo had to tread lightly.
Right.
So the confidence that gives you going up into a Shiraz, I think is really on if Berlanga can remain self-controlled and remain disciplined and not get overly emotional and not get,
I
where he knows what he could do to this guy, but he's in front of the New York crowd. I'm the king of New York, and he feels like he has to show something, and he fights outside of himself. I think that would be the only possibility that I see for Berlanga losing. Outside of that, I really don't see. I don't think it was wise that Shiraz moved up. Honestly, you weren't wearing punches at 160 well. 168 is a bad monster.
That's true. It's crazy because like even though he does look big, that is kind of the I guess the contrast to it, right? And plus, he never did fight Janibek. I
No.
felt like we were robbed because like when you see who Janibek's fighting now, it's like how do like none of you like at least with Adames, it kind of feels like that might be the direction he's forced to go into. But like for Hamza, I really wanted that fight, especially after the way he performed in the 505 Queensberry Matchroom. I'm like, that is like the dream for me. So
Yeah.
when they made it down, I said, okay, that's a like okay, let's say if he wins, maybe that could be a fight for him. And you know what? I have a feeling Turkey. I think Turkey deep down was like, you know what? If he can get this guy out of here, we might think about it. And then when we saw him panic, tell him he was down 2 points, I think even Turkey was kind of like, I better not line him up against somebody like him. And it's weird because like this kind of feels like a cherry pick, or at least an attempt at it.
I think it's a setup to try to overcome the Adamas fight.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
you know what? We don't really see any wins for you at 160. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna give you the impossible. If you pull it off, you're a star. If you don't,
right.
we line Berlanga up at 168 for mega fights. So I mean, it's not
Right.
really a lose lose for Turkey. Other than I think everybody is because Shiraz is Muslim because he's from Pakistan. They're like, oh, that's Turkey's guy. I'm like, if that's your guy, you don't put him up against Berlanga in his next fight. That's not your guy.
That is true. That is true. Because like when I think of 68 setups for a Shiraz, I would think somebody like a Trevor Magumby. Still a
Yeah,
tough fight. Yeah, like even though he's fighting Diego Pacheco, I would think somebody like him. A tough fight, but he could beat him, right?
yeah, he could
So
outclass Trevor.
absolutely. So like I would think somebody of that class. I was a little surprised by the Berlanga pick as well.
This isn't the gimme that people think, and you know, I think there's gonna be a tricky weekend for Vegas. Uh, let's move on to Stevenson versus Cepeda.
Oh, man. This I'm very excited about because even with all of the stuff Turkey's talking, trolling about ring sizes and all that, this is the chance for Shakur Stevenson to have that trademark win on his resume. I feel like he has good enough wins already, but this is the one that's really going to I'd say give him a lot more respect that I feel he deserves. It's been a little rough for him in terms of just trying, and just in terms of fan reaction. Obviously, in terms of wins, he's getting it done. You know what I mean? The last fight, though, I was actually very impressed with him. Even though I feel like a lot of people say, "Oh, he let Padley hang around." I think it speaks more about Josh Padley because I've actually seen his skill before that fight, and I knew he wasn't going to beat Stevenson even on short notice. But still, I knew he was fun enough to where I was like, "Okay, first few rounds be interesting," and it was. And then of course Shakur's like, "Okay, I know what this guy's going to do now," and he does what he does. So it kind of played out the way I figured it would. But I feel like this is the one where Shakur is really going to get respect. Zepeda, to me, it's funny. Galal Fai's opponent, Rodriguez, just got caught using PEDs. And he
Yeah,
set a punch record at flyweight, both thrown and landed, apparently. When I think of William Zepeda, I think of a guy who is not only has the style to set that. I always wonder how that man can fight the way he does the entire fight. Because I mean, the Tevin Farmer one perfect example. He was in his face the whole time, even though the punch like volume went down. It's just like, how does this guy not take a step back and get tired? He's still in Tevin's face, and mind you, the fact that and really there's another story. The fact that Zepeda couldn't get out Farmer, yet Kid Austin takes Farmer on the round. That kind of tells me, okay, the volume's there, but the power isn't. Even though I knew that before, but that really, like, I feel like that kind of sealed it right there for me. This tells me it's going to come down to the boxing of Stevenson versus the pace of Zepeda. I think maybe the first, I feel like it's going to play like the first two, 3 rounds. I think Zepeda, like, it's going to play out a little bit like the Farmer fight, like where Zepeda, we see him just put on that pace early, but Shakur is going to find it out. And unlike Tevin, he's going to put it on him because Tevin blew out his shoulder.
Yeah.
He blew out his shoulder in the match. And I feel like if Tevin didn't do that, probably would have had a little more success. Hell, he did enough in the first fight to where some people thought it was a draw, and it garnered a rematch. So I
And the
feel like
second
with
fight was a split decision loss.
exactly. So like for me, it felt as if Zepeda kind of took a step down in those two fights, even though he escaped, and the plan's still there. I felt like stock went down. Meanwhile, Stevenson is only getting better and better. I feel like Stevenson's going to shut him down. This is the fight where we're going to see Zepeda finally slow down a little bit. We've seen him slow down and punch output and volume, but that pace he does all around the ring, oh no, I think Shakir is going to cut that off, and he is going to have Zepeda swing at air. I want to say by like round 7, round 8, and beyond. I see this being either, believe it or not, either a late stoppage for Stevenson. I'm thinking by like round 10, 11 when he's truly exhausted Cepeda of everything, or we're going to see a unanimous decision masterclass style, no problem for Shakur whatsoever. What are you thinking, bro?
Uh, so I'm seeing it the same way. Definitely, Shakur's fight to lose. Uh, Early rounds, I think Shakur's gonna have to get his footing. Um, I think he may let an early round or two slip. Just
I think
because Zepeda is a very fast starter and Shakur
yeah,
is not a very fast starter. He's much the boxer. He wants to set up. He wants to get your timing. Zepeda's not going to give him the time to get the timing like that. There's not going to be a feel out round with Zepeda. It's going to go from round one. He's going to come forward. He's going to throw punches. So he could give up maybe one or two early. I think as he starts, the thing is Zepeda is predictable. Now, Tevin
right,
Farmer diagnosed his predictability by counterpunching, but
yes,
Tevin Farmer and Shakur's skill sets are very different. Tevin Farmer stayed in the pocket with him, whereas Shakur famously steps back, jumps out of the way. He does have great movement. So I think
right,
that once he gets the timing of the punches, a lot of those initial punches when Zepeda steps and throws like the shots where he goes to the body about 4 times, or he'll come up top twice and try to finish down at the body. Those two up top are going to hit nothing but air. I know as a puncher that disrupts your timing as a puncher when you don't even at least touch the guy. So his ability to not be touched with the first initial punches, I think is going to slow Zepeda's confidence down. And we're going to see Zepeda, his volume go down, not from necessarily gassing early, but from him not being able to find Shakur with those first couple punches, the first couple jabs, the first couple hooks to the body, with Shakur not being there. Now it kind of throws off your rhythm and it throws off the next 3 or 4 punches that you try to throw when you're trying to throw these rapid combinations. So I definitely see a UD. I think he's going to outclass him. I do hope that he has a spectacular performance. I think he will do similar to the Padley fight because I don't think Zepeda's power. I think it's more of a war of attrition with Zepeda. I think he breaks guys down over rounds. I don't think that he's punching quite like that. So I do think that Shakur will, in the later rounds, try to make a statement and stay in the pocket with him as he gets the timing, like he did with the Padley come forward, counterpunch forward, instead of always going backwards.
Right.
I just hope his hands hold up because I think that's the biggest thing that we saw in the Padley and why it took Padley so long was around round 5, 6, you could see the shake of the hand, the kind
Yeah.
of pulling the punches. I don't know if I want to. And then he bit down on the mouthpiece and he got it done, and he got it done to the body. Softer palate, uh, and picking his shots, but his hands were hurt,
Yeah, and
especially that left hand. It was hurt.
yeah, I was about to say, like, look at his hands too, man. It's like, damn, I wonder how many. Like, he. It's funny because even though Floyd and some other fighters, are known for breaking their hands a lot, even Paulie Malignaggi was a guy who's known for doing it a lot. You do wonder how many more fights Shakur can keep on, like, can continue because he's done a lot in his career,
Well,
a
this was
lot,
the
and
thing
I
though.
imagine his career's fine, but yeah. Oh no, go ahead, my bad.
No, this was the thing though with the Mayweather comparison, right? Mayweather
Right.
took time off. Which Shakur has had uh time off and obviously surgeries and stuff like that. But I think I think there was a time, and I think we'll find out a little bit later, going, down the boxing history when Floyd isn't so much of an egomaniac, maybe in his later years, maybe in his great grandpa years, he'll be like, you know what, I'm gonna peel back the onion, I'm gonna let you guys know. I think that Floyd was ready to walk away from boxing. And I think that uh Roger was able to convince him, hey, we can fight in this style and we can still make a lot of money, but you're not gonna beat guys up. And the thing, Floyd was small, and if you watch some of those fights later on, he was not only a defensive master, but he took some shots. And he took some shots because guys, you know, took some chances. And they took some chances. They knew he wasn't going to punch as much. Now the thing that he was able to develop was he could hit you, he could pot shot. He could hit you hard enough with one or two that he made you respect it. And that's what we haven't seen from Shakur. We haven't seen that type of pop with a one or two shot that, okay, I can make you at least hesitate coming in here and stepping in. So if he could develop that, I think he'll have more longevity, and hopefully this is the fight where he can show it, show those layers. But if he's got to bite down and do similar to the Padley win, which I could see him doing as well, just trying to make a statement. This might be our last few fights we've seen Shakur for real. I just don't think the hands can hold up.
Yeah, man, and it's funny you say that too with the amount of fights he has left. You would have to imagine a win here. It's got to be somebody major after this. Like it has to be unification type of fight. It's
It's
got to
got to
be
be.
tanking. Yeah, it's got to be either unification. It's got to be tanking the conversation. It's got to be somebody big in the conversation because, like you said, not too many fights left for Shakur. He can win this, but like you said, like after this fight, it's all too important for him to be involved in the big one now.
Yeah. All right, let's
Straight
go
up,
to Alberto Puello versus Real Matias.
another good one, man. This I am extremely excited for because Boyer is no joke, and I believe he did have. It's funny. I think he did have a bit of a pass with like maybe drug test. Maybe somebody else I'm thinking of, but it might be him. I'm not sure, but uh, might be. No, it might be somebody else I'm thinking of.
No, that
But
was
anyway,
Puello. Puello dropped the belt for popping, but I
okay.
believe it may have been it was banned substances, but I believe it may have been a drug and not um
PED or
and not
steroid.
like a PED drug. I believe. I can't remember, but I know that he definitely popped for something and dropped the belt. That's how he dropped the belt.
So he's in a very interesting spot now. He's somebody with 10 knockouts, so it's 20 plus wins. He's always somebody like usually they'll be back and forth. He'll put some people down, but if he's in a tough fight, he can hang in there to the end and he can get himself a decision. But what I have to say about this is Real Matias. This might be the first fight where he goes the distance, or he actually goes the distance and wins.
Mm,
It might be that one because Puello's a tough man. But at the same time, Matias, it's tough to go against a guy who has 22 wins, 22 knockouts. His only loss was to really a credible Liam Paro, who lost to Richardson Hitchens. So all of a sudden, that loss doesn't look bad. Plus, it was credible, especially when we saw how Liam looked in his return fight in Australia recently. So to me, that's not even a bad loss for Matias. It's just like a sign of, okay, now he has to make sure he's ready for these big dogs, because now they're starting to really circle the wagon now in his division. I think this will be a breakout performance for him. I believe he wins, but I don't think we see a knockout. I think this is going to be maybe a decision win for Matias. I don't want to count out Puello because he is an exciting fighter, but even though Matias is not necessarily the knockout guy, he's more of a death by 1,000 punches type of guy. How he gets you out there, he just breaks you and hits you so much that you just can't take it.
Mm.
Williams is a tough man. I think he might be able to take it, even in a fight where he's not necessarily where I think he might lose the majority of the rounds. To be honest with you, I think he's going to drop at least 7 to 8 to Matias, but he's going to be a tough man to try to make it a fun fight. I have Sabril by unanimous decision. I'm going to take him by decision. If he
Okay.
finishes Puello, not will I be impressed. I'll be surprised. Puello's a tough guy. What are you
I-
thinking, though, bro?
I'm going the opposite way. I'm going Puello. And the reason why is, man, that Gary Antoine win, that Gary Antoine Russell win, uh,
My favorite on his resume.
that was a great win. Came in super underdog. PBC did not plan on that. I don't even think
That's
they were planning on promoting any more of his fights. They're gonna put him on they put him on a good old PBC shelf. But you know, it just that night showed how many wrinkles and how crafty of a veteran Puello is. And
I
that
agree.
you have to stick a world class guy in there. And that
Right.
night, Gary Antoine Russell is world class, but that night he wasn't world class. He came in with a very mid game plan and thought he was just going to be able to walk Puello down, and they was going to wear him down, and they was going to hit him with all these punches. And Puello counterpunched him and worked along the ropes and tied up when he was supposed to and frustrated him, and the timing was perfect. I think similarly, Samuel Matias, I think the reason why he lost to Liam Paro is because he didn't have a depth in his game to go to. And Paro was able to add wrinkles, and I just don't see Matias being able to adjust. And I think that's Puello's greatest advantage is he adjusts on the fly in the ring very, very well. He's crafty. He's a veteran. He's seen it all. He's had the belt multiple times. He's had to go get the belt back. Um, I give it to Puello though. I just think the experience is going to outweigh the youthfulness unless he just gets old and there are all those fights.
That's true.
And I'm not gonna lie, the last couple fights, the Sandor Martin fight and the Gary Antoine Russell fight were, you know, those were bangers for real. He
Right.
stood in there. They were rougher fights. So,
And the
and
Sandor,
this is another rough fight.
yeah, and the Sandor one was interesting too, because some people the scores were way different than the ones the judges had that night for that fight. I remember that distinctly. So yeah, that makes me wonder too, and that's actually one of the reasons I give Matias kind of the edge is because if he was more of a power puncher, like more of a Gary Antoine Russell type, I'm going Puello because it's like, okay, you handle one of the hardest hitters in the division, you have no problem with this guy. A guy with Matias' type of pace, that's what I'm curious about. If Puello can make an adjustment to Matias' pace, oh, he's gonna shut him down. He's gonna shut him down. But that's what I wonder though, because Matias is like, if he was a power guy, oh yeah, Puello can do it. But that's what I wonder, man, how that pace is gonna be. But I like it though. We both have interesting cases there. I like that.
Yeah, definitely like it. All right, let's see what's next. We don't know what the status of this fight is at the moment, but David Morrell, Imam Kataev, what we thinking?
So it's weird. The ban that was laid down on Katiev was by the IBA, which is the Russian Amateur Federation.
Right.
So what? Actually, you know what? This is the best comparison. Remember Dillian White, Oscar Rivas?
Mhm.
Remember when Dillian tested positive during the week, and then even though then he sat with the British board, and they were like, "Okay, you tested positive, but you know what? We're gonna let you fight anyway." I feel like that's what's gonna happen with Katiev and Morel right? It's gonna be similar.
I
Like
think
the
so.
British board yeah, they gave Dylan a ban, but I believe because the fight, oh my god, I forgot where it was with Rivas. Rivas ended up popping dirty after the fight, but I remember before the British board's like, okay, Dylan, you can fight even though you're on something. I feel like with the Katiev situation, it's the same thing. So as of right now, it's on. Technically, it shouldn't be because even though he's on clomiphene, that tells me that usually when you're on clomiphene, you're covering up something. Usually, right?
Mm,
Usually, yeah, usually you're covering something. So what this tells me is, and it's so funny that you mentioned to me in a text how Katiev is a volume puncher, volume guy. Man, I think we might know why he's a volume guy. I think we know where it comes from now.
yeah,
Especially when I've seen the tape of the pace, I'm like, this guy throws a lot of punches for a big guy, and I'm like, oh, that's why.
yeah.
So this is
And
what
he's
I
kind
think is
of a
going.
built he's kind of a built light heavyweight. Like he's not like a cut down light heavyweight. He looks like he builds to light heavy.
He
He's a
literally
little
looks like
guy.
a Russian science experiment, like straight
Yeah.
up. Guy looks like he's out of a lab, man. It's crazy work. And you know what? Even with that, I still give the edge to David Morrell because to me, David Morrell, what he showed me in the Benavidez fight is that he was not going to back down. He's willing to throw. He can take some shots, and mind you, one of the knockdowns was a little weird. I think they tripped and they counted it as one, but he was not going to at least legitimately one time. But even so, Dave, not to mention, he fought him way earlier than I think anybody would have anticipated in his career. I always thought David was going to be kind of held away from Benavidez, so when the fight was made, I was just shocked. But I feel like he needed a fight like that. As for Katiev, he's never fought anybody like Morel before. Hadn't fought anybody on that level yet. And even with whatever he's on, I think whatever he's on will help him with volume. But I don't know if it's going to help him when he gets hit hard. This will remind me a lot of this will remind me a little bit of Sanchez and Makhmudov, just a little
Hmm.
bit. And I say that not necessarily because of style, but I feel like this is how it'll be. It'll be a case where you know how Makhmudov and the no, I'm sorry, who did they didn't fight? I'm sorry, it wasn't Sanchez Makhmudov. It was Caviel and Makhmudov. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, okay, yeah.
Caviel. When yeah, I was like, wait, no, he didn't fight him. But yeah, Caviel Makhmudov. Remember when Mahmudov was like systematically beaten down by Caviel and then that body shot folded him, ended him? I feel
Yeah.
like Morel is going to break this guy. I
Yeah.
feel like that's what's going to happen. Katiev is going to try to use his volume and try to use his pace, try to overwhelm Morel. But I feel like when he feels Morel's power and he sees what Morel's capable of, he's going to real that Katiev is going to realize he may not be on that level yet. So I favor Morel in this. The one thing I will say though, knowing that Katiev is possibly going to go into this fight cheating and that he's known for that high volume, that does still make it very interesting in terms of can Morel really deal with a guy who's going to be fighting like that? Because I don't think Morel fought anybody with that high of an output or pace as like Katiev has. So that's the interesting thing. And now that we know dude's going to go in there possibly fully juiced, it now makes it very interesting. What do you think, though? I'll go Morel here, but man, knowing that Katiev is potentially going to be fighting Juice makes it interesting. At
I'm
least makes it different.
I'm definitely going Morel. I can't remember the Argentinian's name, but that was Katayev's last fight, and it
Yeah,
just it just didn't impress me. I think that he's more of a volume guy
right.
than a power guy, even though I think they're trying to kind of bill him as a power guy. Not many people have seen him necessarily fight on this, you know
Right.
what I'm saying? The hardcores will probably know, but most fans, they're just gonna see a Russian guy, that's jacked, and they're gonna be like, and that they say punches hard, and they're gonna go, oh, Morel's in trouble. This is a dangerous fight. And then when I actually go break down the film, I'm like, he was going life or death with this Argentinian, like in this 10 rounds. I'm talking about they were going at it, and it was because of a lack of power for real. They were catching each other, but the other guy had a chin and he was like, all right, I'm gonna punch you. And that's what I seen that really made me pick Morel was it keeps coming up today, but punch comfortability. you might have decent punch resistance. You might be able to your knees might not buckle. You might have a chin, but d- you don't like no and no one enjoys getting punched. You know what I'm saying? But you're not willing to just sit in there and exchange in the pocket. And in certain times in that fight, I saw Kataev be the one that took the step back, like, I don't like this. And he kind of went to the movement. Well, the thing is this, Morel's got better movement.
Right. He has
And
weight. I agree.
we seen in the Benavidez fight, he is completely comfortable going blow for blow with one of the biggest men at light heavyweight with some devastate. That's the Mexican monster. You go blow for blow with the Mexican monster, you're proven. You are you
Absolutely.
are you are fire tested and proven you're good to go. So I think that Morel's gonna. I think that it's gonna be a banger in the beginning, but I think Morel's gonna hit him with some stuff that's gonna convince him. Like, I don't know if I really want to be in here doing this. You know what I mean? He's gonna be like, all right. And then the thing is, Morel's gonna step on the gas from there. Like, we're not just gonna ease up and now turn this into a boxing match because you want to move around a little bit. I can match your movement and I'm gonna stay on you. We're gonna keep. I want to keep slugging. Like, that's Morel's whole style for real. And that was the question was, okay, that's just been his style up to this point. But when he fights David Benavidez, will he fight like that? Well, he fought like that for 12 rounds. This
Right.
guy hasn't even been in a 12 rounder yet. So
I didn't even realize that. Like it, that's true. I didn't even realize he's never been to a 12 rounder yet, and yet he's
no,
being put on this stage against Morel. Yeah, like it. To me, I don't think Turkey would put Morel in a fight like this unless he was going
I think it's a showcase fight for Morel. I think honestly, we might have a case for best bet of the night, Morel by knockout.
Oh, you know what? I think that might be it, bro. If we're gonna get a vicious knockout on this one, if we don't get it in the main event, we're gonna get it here. We're gonna get it here.
For sure. All
Absolutely.
right, let's see. We've got two we got two showcase cards. I don't even know how this guy keeps making it. They're trying to make him a star. Rieto Tasumi and Isaiah Rodriguez. So we got these two on the main card. I don't know how they
Yeah,
made it.
great.
This is
I'll say this: Sasumi, I saw him debut. I was on in Times Square. He did good, but I wasn't blown away. You know,
not
I
main
wasn't blown
card
away.
on
He's
your
not. He's
second
not.
fight.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like he didn't blow me away. He's not. He's not in a way. He's not. He's not. Oh my goodness. Nakatani. You know what I mean? He's good, very good. But I didn't see glimpses of that sort of Japanese style from him. It just seems like he has that amateur Olympic style, and that's fine. It gets the job done. But maybe the more he's in there, maybe he'll be more confident at that level and he'll start to develop. But very odd that they're putting him in the spot. You know what I mean? Very odd.
I think somebody is definitely either you know how boxing is, it's politics and it's money. So
Right.
between the
Okay.
two of those, somehow this kid is on this card. I think he'll definitely get the win. I don't think it's going to
Oh,
be ultra violent. I think he's going to fight in the same Olympic style. He's going to try to
right.
overwhelm with a lot of punches and maybe throw a few hard ones in there. And he's fighting a 3-3 guy. Second fight, he should get the dub. And hopefully he does something spectacular that makes us go, ooh, that's why you're on the main card. But I doubt it.
Yeah, you know what this tells me too? This tells me I wouldn't be surprised if we see Sasumi either on Ring 4 or if we see him on the Canelo Crawford undercard because I feel like if he's being put in a showcase like this, they Turkey wants fans to remember him
Oh
because they're
yeah.
gonna put him in events like that. So yeah, that's what I feel like
You
this
put
is
him
right
back to back big cards in New York and puts him out there. And they may be trying to tap into the American
now.
Japanese cultures or just the Japanese culture as a whole because you know they have their own thing going on over there and they really don't need our money or Turkey's
Right,
money for real for
right.
real. They're good just doing what they're doing in Japan. If anything, we're trying to tap into their market. So maybe that's the attempt here. The last fight on the main card, Muhammad Alcal and Placido Hoff.
Alakel. I imagine there once again. I believe we call it Turkey Special, right?
Yep, it's
Turkey
turkey
Special.
special.
Yeah,
We got a turkey
yeah.
special.
No doubt. That's the Turkey
4-0
Special.
guy. coming on somehow. He's on the main card, showcase fight. So it's one of his first five fights. He better win.
Oh yeah, Turkey Special. Yeah, Turkey Special was out the deli. Turkey wanted him probably on there as a favor, so they
I mean,
gave
that might be
somebody decent.
somebody's. That
I
might be
see this
somebody's
way too.
cousin. Looking at that name,
That's true. That is true.
I get
This
that.
might be, man, but that's easy work right there.
Yeah, yeah, he should get that done. All right, fight fan, that's our preview for Ring 3. If you enjoyed the breakdown, smash that like button, subscribe, and go to youtube.com at Rush Hour Fight Club. Turn on notifications so you don't miss when Jay goes live. He'll be doing a live watch along for the fights on the Rush Hour Fight Club YouTube page. So pull up, bring your scorecards, and chop it up with us while we watch the action live. Thanks for tuning in as always. Wipe your nose, I'll wipe it for you. I'm a Kyle Deadshot Bowie, and that is Jay Smooth. Stay safe, and we'll see you on fight night. Peace!